Ah, summer camp, the place for friendship, first crushes, and, well, in this case, unhinged murder sprees. Sleepaway Camp has all the makings of a classic teen slasher movie, but with a bite, because at the center of it all, we have our very own Angela Baker. Now, if you watch Sleepaway Camp, then I'm sure she piqued your interest. I mean, the shy, awkward, wide-eyed girl who seemed like she'd rather melt into the background than say a single word. We all thought she didn't fit in, but turns out she wasn't supposed to. Behind that timid demeanor was a past dripping in tragedy and a secret so jaw-dropping it left an entire generation of horror fans in stunned silence. Curious? Well, keep watching and find out. Oh, and before we get started, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video. Let's begin. Who is Angela Baker, and what is her origin? Angela Baker wasn't always Angela Baker. She was born Peter Baker, living a quiet little life with her dad, John, and her sister, the real Angela. The three of them spent their summers by the lake, enjoying the great outdoors, until Mother Nature decided to destroy their serenity. While out on the water, their boat capsized, turning a casual swim into a full-blown disaster. Just as they were making their way to shore, a couple of clueless teens with a motorboat and zero peripheral vision came speeding through, mowing down poor John and leaving the kids badly injured. Unfortunately, the real Angela didn't make it either. With his dad and sister dead, Peter was sent to live with his, extremely quirky Aunt Martha. Unfortunately, Martha already had a son, Ricky, and in her mind, one boy was plenty. Well, what choice did she have but to force Peter to become Angela the Second? Told you she was quirky, and a bit loose. She's definitely not winning any Mother of the Year awards, that's for sure. So now we have an already traumatized Peter who saw his family's brutal deaths, and who has to cosplay as his dead sister. Now that's a villain origin. The poor child didn't stand a chance. But hey, what's childhood without a little forced identity crisis, huh?
How can it be?
What happened at Camp Arawak in the first film? 8 years after that boating accident from hell, Angela and her cousin Ricky were packed off to Camp Arawak by their ever-so-thoughtful Aunt Martha. You know, because nothing helps a traumatized child like throwing them into a crowded camp full of rowdy kids and zero supervision. Then again, she wasn't that great before either. Angela, being painfully shy and barely speaking, quickly became the camp's favorite punching bag. The queen bee of the bullying squad was Judy, a camper with hair so big it could block out the sun, and Meg, a counselor whose main qualification was being really mean to children. During lunch one day, head counselor Ronnie, one of the very few decent people at the camp, noticed Angela hadn't eaten and took her to the kitchen to find something she'd like. That's when Artie, the camp's resident creep, saw an opportunity for something far more disturbing. Before he could do anything though, Ricky burst in and dragged Angela out, but not before Artie threatened him. Unfortunately for Artie, karma arrived quickly. Later that day, an unforeseen figure knocked him off a chair while he handled a massive pot of boiling water, giving him the worst kind of full-body facial. Camp owner Mel, a man whose moral compass was completely broken, called it an accident and paid off the kitchen staff to keep quiet. The next day, Ricky and Paul joined a basketball game against the older boys. Ricky won, leaving Kenny and Mike determined to get revenge. That night, they cornered Angela to mock her, but Ricky and Paul weren't having it. A fight broke out, giving Kenny exactly what he wanted, a chance to drag Ricky into trouble. Later, Paul stayed behind to talk to Angela, managing to be the first person at camp to treat her like a human being. Meanwhile, Kenny took a late-night swim and turned up face down in the lake the next morning. Mel, fully committed to pretending nothing was wrong, ruled it an accident. Seriously, where are their parents? Things managed to get even worse. Angela took a water balloon to the face, courtesy of Billy. He was punished, but that didn't save him. Someone locked him in a bathroom stall and dropped a beehive inside, turning him into an all-you-can-sting buffet. Sorry. The deaths were piling up, and Mel, whose detective skills were about as sharp as a wet sponge, became convinced Ricky was behind everything. Meanwhile, Paul, proving that teenage boys never learn, tried making out with Angela on the beach. She froze, haunted by childhood memories, specifically walking in on her dad in bed with his male lover. Paul, clueless and frustrated, ran straight into Judy's waiting arms, making out with her behind Angela's back. Angela caught them, but the humiliation didn't stop there. Judy and Meg threw her into the lake, and after being fished out by the lifeguard, she had sand flung at her by younger kids. Ricky, furious, promised to make them all pay. Meg was the first to go, stabbed through the shower wall. Judy followed, suffering a particularly creative demise. Mel and 4 of the kids who pelted her with sand were also found slaughtered. Paul, desperate to fix things, invited Angela to meet him by the lake. She suggested a skinny dip, and Paul, ever the trusting fool, agreed. His mistake became clear when she cut off his head. By the time the counselors found her, Angela was sitting on the shore, humming and cradling Paul's severed head like a beloved childhood toy. As they cautiously approached, she stood up, revealing the truth. The murderer was in front of them all along. How did Angela return in Sleepaway Camp 2? Angela Baker wasn't done. Oh no, what's the fun in that? After her little campfire rendezvous, she got arrested and thrown into a psychiatric hospital, where she underwent a sex change operation, officially becoming Angela Johnson. Now a fully realized woman, she landed a job as a counselor at Camp Rolling Hills. With a sunnier attitude and an enthusiasm level that should have been a red flag, Angela was back where she belonged. During a campfire story, Phoebe Cates, no, not that Phoebe Cates, started telling the tale of the Camp Arawak massacre. Angela, overhearing her own horror legacy being dragged through the dirt, shut it down immediately. She led Phoebe away, calling her a bad influence and threatening to send her home. Phoebe, unimpressed, told her to go ahead. Angela, never one to bluff, grabbed a log and bashed Phoebe's head in before cutting out her tongue for having a filthy mouth. The next morning, she casually told everyone that Phoebe had been sent home for bad behavior. What a fun counselor, huh? At breakfast, Uncle John, the camp owner, somehow thought Angela was doing an amazing job and named her Counselor of the Week. She even led the campers in a rousing rendition of the Happy Camper song. That enthusiasm quickly died when she caught the Schultz sisters, Jody and Brooke, getting high and singing a ruined version of her song. Though she let them go, the next day she found them again, this time adding a little backwoods romance to the mix. That was the last straw. The boy was sent packing, and the sisters woke up to Angela's version of a barbecue special. Jody got grilled to perfection, and Brooke woke up to her sister's charred remains, just in time for Angela to douse her in gasoline and burn her to her demise. Say no to drugs, kids. That night, the boys raided the girls' cabin for underwear, so Angela sent them back. When the girls tried a revenge raid, she broke that up too, but got flashed in the process by camper Mare. Bad move. Mare was told she was being driven home, only to get a drill bit surprise in Angela's car. Angela continued cleaning the house, targeting peeping toms and pranksters, and Allie, the camp's resident mean girl. Angela lured Allie into an abandoned cabin, and after a heated discussion about her choices in life, shoved her into an outhouse, drowning her in everything disgusting. Her carefully crafted "they all went home" excuse began falling apart when camper Demi Moore, again not that Demi Moore, realized none of the missing campers had actually returned home. That made her a liability, so Angela strangled her with a guitar string. Another camper, Leah, stumbled onto the scene, so Angela had to take care of her too. She had to. Uncle John, realizing way too late that Angela had mysteriously sent home half the camp, fired her. Devastated, Angela retreated to an abandoned cabin, where she was soon discovered by Sean, the son of a cop who had arrested her before. That went poorly for him. By nightfall, Angela slashed, stabbed, and burned her way through the remaining campers, tried to hitchhike to freedom, and ironically ended up picking up Molly, the one survivor. Guess how that ended?
A gun.
What was Angela's role in Sleepaway Camp 3? Maria Nicastro wakes up in New York City, ready for her trip to camp. That plan gets cut short when she's chased into an alley and flattened by a garbage truck. Behind the wheel sits, yeah, you guessed it, infamous serial killer Angela Baker, who wastes no time in dressing in Maria's clothes, cutting her hair to match and stealing her identity. Armed with a fake ID, she boards a bus bound for Camp New Horizons, a place designed to unite kids from different backgrounds through teamwork and forced outdoor bonding. Yep, she's back to her favorite hunting grounds. Upon arrival, Angela and the campers meet their owners, Lily and Herman Miranda, along with TV reporter Tawny Richards. Tawny makes sure to remind everyone that Camp New Horizons used to be Camp Rolling Hills, where a massacre took place just 1 year prior. Lily scrambles to keep things quiet, desperate to maintain the illusion of a wholesome summer retreat. Before leaving, Tawny asks Angela for cocaine, blissfully unaware of the killer's sense of humor. Angela delivers a dose of Comet Cleanser wrapped in plastic. Tawny snorts it on the drive home, dying almost immediately. When the campers split into groups for a 3-day survival trip, Officer Barney Whitmore joins the fun. Angela recognizes him as the man who arrested her years ago and as the father of one of her former victims. The reunion remains tense as Angela joins her assigned group in the woods. Annoyed by Peter Doyle's constant firecrackers, she later forces one into his face, reducing his head count in the worst way possible. Elsewhere, Herman is caught in a compromising situation with camper Jan Hernandez, and Angela makes sure neither of them leave alive. The night ends with Snowboy beaten unconscious and burned alive. The next morning, Angela infiltrates Lily's group, eliminating Arab with an axe before making Cindy take a high dive from a flagpole. Lily herself gets buried up to her neck before Angela runs over her head with a lawnmower. Barney eventually catches on, leading to a confrontation where Angela confesses everything before shooting him. With Marcia as her captive, she sets her sights on the last survivors. Under the pretense of a trust exercise, Angela lures them into a rigged death trap. Tony and Marcia barely escape, while the rest meet gruesome ends. Attempting her own getaway, Angela takes the Miranda's Jeep, but is intercepted by an axe-wielding Marcia. A brutal fight leaves Angela stabbed and loaded into an ambulance, though survival still lingers. When the attending paramedic and officer consider finishing the job, she wakes up and takes care of business herself. Will she ever stop? Well, no.
Ask him how cool it is now.
What is Angela's final fate in Return to Sleepaway Camp? In the summer of 2003, at Camp Manabee, a bunch of teenage boys decide to entertain themselves in the most sophisticated way possible, by lighting their farts on fire. Pee-Pee, a nervous, bespectacled kid with an unfortunate nickname, watches as Eddie, Mark, and Billy turn their gas into literal flames. Alan, the camp's resident misunderstood menace, assumes the boys are talking about him and immediately threatens violence. But once he realizes what they're actually doing, he wants in on the action. Boys will be boys after all. Pee-Pee warns him not to break the lighter since it belongs to his dad, but Alan, being a natural-born bully, just mocks him for wetting the bed. Alan's attempt at fiery flatulence goes horribly wrong when he, miscalculates the outcome, leading to an unfortunate accident in his pants. The boys laugh, and in true unhinged fashion, Alan ups the ante by turning the lighter into a makeshift flamethrower, terrorizing them until their counselor Randy steps in. Alan responds by shoving Randy and running off into the woods. As tensions arise, Alan's frustrations boil over, leading him to become involved in various pranks, arguments, and rebellious acts. His actions alienate him from the other campers, and he becomes a target for bullying, particularly from figures like Bella and TC. Amidst all the commotion, a series of mysterious deaths begin to unfold, starting with the murder of Mickey, the lazy assistant cook. This sets off a series of increasingly violent events, with Alan becoming more and more isolated as suspicions about his involvement grow. Throughout the night, Alan, now a target of suspicion and aggression, tries to survive the escalating danger, only to find himself caught up in the violent spree that threatens everyone at the camp. As the tension peaks, the truth comes out. Sheriff Jerry is the killer. Actually, Sheriff Jerry is Angela Baker, and she is the killer. She's the one behind the murders, having orchestrated the camp's downfall. In the end, the dark truth about Angela's escape from the mental institution is revealed, leaving a trail of bodies behind her as she seeks vengeance. She just refuses to quit. What skills and killing methods does Angela use? One thing you have to give her credit for is that she does not have a method of choice. In fact, she's rather creative with each of her murders. Stealth is her game, and she plays it like a pro. She's the kind of killer who could make you disappear without a trace, sneaking around camp, offing people left and right, and only revealing herself when the credits are about to roll. If there were a class on ghosting, she'd be the valedictorian. She's also got some crazy skills with a bow and arrow. Remember when she took out Mel with a single shot straight through the throat? One clean shot, no sweat. Now that's a skill you don't pick up from an afternoon hobby class. From knives and axes to fire and bees, Angela can turn practically anything into a killing tool. She's the kind of person who would show up to a knife fight with a lawnmower and somehow make it work. Angela also has a very unique sense of justice. If someone's acting a little too shady, she's got no problem delivering her brand of judgment. Whether it's a knife, a curling iron, or even a truck, it's becoming a weapon if it's within arm's reach. It's nothing personal, just justice. I think her best method is her disguise. When it comes to blending in, Angela's the queen of disguise. She can slip into the counselor or camper role without anyone batting an eye. You could be sitting next to her, sharing a campfire story, and never know she's already picked out the perfect weapon for your untimely demise. Who are Angela's most memorable victims? From bullying to bad attitudes, Angela's got a list of reasons to end somebody's day, permanently. She's not picky with it either. If you're on her radar, you're in trouble. In the first Sleepaway Camp, Angela had a score to settle with a number of campers and counselors who crossed her or Ricky. Artie? He met his demise thanks to a well-placed chair and a vat of scalding water. Kenny didn't fare much better, drowning at Angela's hands after he bullied her. Oh, and then there was Billy, who got a beehive shoved into his stall like an overzealous beekeeper. As the series went on, Angela's methods became more creative. From gasoline to a chainsaw, she was ready to turn any ordinary tool into a murder weapon. Phoebe's mouthy attitude or Allie's incessant bullying, Angela delivered death with a flair that would make any horror movie villain proud. Oh, and if you were unlucky enough to cross her path while doing something as simple as smoking or having sex, well, let's just say Angela's judgment was swift and final. Just don't do drugs, kids. What makes Angela's reveal so iconic in horror? Throughout the entire movie, Angela is built up as a quiet, introverted girl who seems to be hiding something. After all, horror movies love a good mystery. The twist isn't just about a surprise, but about flipping everything the audience thought they knew upside down. What makes it iconic is how it subverts the final girl trope. Normally, the last survivor in a slasher film is a victim who triumphs over the villain. But in Sleepaway Camp, Angela is the villain, and her unassuming, innocent demeanor makes the reveal all the more jarring. The twist isn't just that Angela is behind the killings, it's that Angela is a guy, revealing a shocking gender-bending moment that was unheard of at the time. It's a moment that literally leaves you with your jaw on the floor as the truth comes crashing down. Guys, this was the early 80s, mind you. I think when Angela's true identity is unveiled, it's so unexpected that it redefines the entire movie, turning what might have been just another slasher flick into a lasting moment of horror history. Marvelous verdict. Well, there you have it, The Sleepaway Camp. The first time I watched the movie, I was genuinely so surprised by the plot twist of it all. I absolutely loved it. I think what makes her truly unforgettable is how she challenges every trope we've come to expect in slasher films. Can we ever truly trust the quiet ones? Is there a deeper, darker side to everyone we meet, hiding just beneath the surface? Yeah, I think this movie was the beginning of all my trust issues. Anyway, I want to hear from you. How did you feel about the iconic Sleepaway Camp reveal? Was it the twist you saw coming, or were you just as shook as I was? Have you watched all 4 movies? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone!